Kicked by me.
Hello, everybody. We are here with your Terra support guide. Terra can be played arguably in the solo lane and support role, but right now she's mostly getting played in support when she is getting played.
Don't forget knee pads.
She is getting buffed pretty soon. It has not been buffed yet. It actually won't affect the guide at all. All it affects is how good generically she's going to be. They are going to be giving her AoE auto attacks when she has her rocks online. So that's going to help her in the early game lane clear, but not going to be live quite yet. So we got to do it the old-fashioned way. The old-fashioned way being Guardian's Blessing, tier 1 boots, 4 health potions, and a Hand of the Gods with our Shell in the lane. For our first ability, we will be grabbing our 2. I'm not going to do any crazy minion blocking strats. There are some weird strats that you can do with Terra where you block minions and do some cheesy stuff. I'm honestly not even going to go there because the cheese to reward factor is pretty low. So our ability here, our 2, is going to throw down a couple of stones on either side of us. While we have these activated, you see there's this little tiny 7 number popping up, this little bonus damage. That bonus damage is from our passive, so we'll talk about that right after this ability. Those walls last for 5 seconds. They do body block. So if you are, if you wanted to stop somebody from coming at you, you absolutely can. So right here you can see it's body blocking that and her auto attacks. When you press the ability a second time, those will collapse together and it will do damage and stun anybody that is in the middle of the ability. So you want to put somebody generally in the middle and then pop it, and then you clap them, you do damage, and you stun them. But don't underestimate how effective it can be just as a body block slash auto attack block, whatever.
Your right tower is under attack.
Into our passive, because our passive is relevant, Terra abilities create standing stones. As long as any standing stones are on the battleground, Terra becomes knock-up immune, and your basic attacks slow enemies and deal bonus damage. This is also going to have, this is what's going to have the AoE damage on it in the next patch. Nice job, good kill. So while you have your 2 activated, while my 3 is activated, whatever, I'm going to get this bonus effect of the slows on my autos, eventually the AoE autos in a couple of weeks, and the knock-up immunity. If you destroy one of your stones, if you shatter them, you gain this effect for an additional 30 seconds. So what does shattering our stones mean? Well, that will bring us into our first ability, which is the ability that we grabbed at level 2. This is going to be our movement ability. It is a very, very small dash in front of us.
Enemy missing middle.
That small dash goes through minions, goes through gods, does damage to anybody in the range, but it will interact with our abilities and allow us to use our dash again. So if we interact it with our 3, it is going to pop our pillar, which we haven't actually talked about yet. And it is going to do a giant AoE damage and root ability. Our third ability, by the way, what it does is it is a pillar on the field. Once again, it can body block and stuff. Ooh, I'm gonna go super aggressive on this. I'm gonna go for the body block myself. Don't think I'm gonna have to shell here. Dang, we're not quite gonna get the kill. Normally, all it does, there's the shell. Normally, all it does, oh my goodness, he's actually probably gonna get away from this. All it does is heal, so anybody within the radius of your 3 is gonna get healed. It takes 3 auto attacks in order to destroy Terra's 3 from the enemy. So you will get a heal per tick, and this bad boy lasts for 10 seconds, which is quite nice. If you pop it with your 1, it is going to, in that giant circle that it provides, gonna do shatter damage. It's gonna do damage over time, and it's gonna root everybody inside for 1 second. This is your main ability. It is the ability that we are maxing out first on Terra.
I got your back, brother.
If you interact your... Can't believe I just got that, lol. If you interact your 2 with your 1, you're gonna bash through these walls and do damage in a cone area in front of it. So the damage per wall you can see right here. And then there's the shatter damage. So you can shatter this and you'll literally do damage in a cone in front of it. This can also be used for some pretty good early game clear. So I can try to like dash into this, do damage, you see all that damage come out, and then I get a second dash. You do not, I repeat, you do not get a second dash if you do not hit one of your standing stones. So if you don't hit your 2 or your 3, you will not get another dash. If I just use my dash by itself, I only get 1. You only get the second one if you blow up a part of your wall on your 2 or your 3. Standardly, you're going to be blowing up the wall on your 3 because you're going to want to collapse your 2 for the stun. So I'm just going to walk right up here to the Hercules, stun him. Actually, just barely got out of that. Hit him with the root. So you're just playing pretty aggressive on Terra. Trying to waddle at them, get a bunch of poke off, using your 3 for sustain as well. Finally, our ultimate. Really good support ultimate. One of the probably most damaging support ultimates in the game, actually. Which is interesting just because of the way that it looks. But Terra's ulti procs all around her onto friendlies and enemies. It is going to give them a set of these stones flying around them. This is a buff on allies and a debuff on enemies, so I'm gonna actually use it right now. I'm gonna shell. I'm gonna do. You can see all this damage that this Anher just took. Holy cow! And so the exact thing that ability does is your allies are gonna get these stones on them. The enemies get stones on them. Allies gain 5% damage mitigation and protection. That heal if all 4 are activated. So if you get attacked basically 4 times while these stones are on you, they are going to get a large heal to all of your allies that were within your circle.
If you want something, take it.
If enemies get the same thing, they receive 5% more damage from sources compared to your allies, which receive 5% less. And if you proc all the stones on an enemy, they're going to get the big damage on them. Stones are activated when either the ally or enemy receives damage, and these do last for 10 seconds, so you've got a long time to proc them. So theoretically, if you were to get your ultimate on every single enemy and every single ally, you're looking at a 500 plus heal and 1000 plus damage in a team fight. That is huge, absolutely massive. I would argue the singular best support ability in the entire game, actually. Increased damage, damage mitigation, healing, and damage all in the same ability, and it is really not hard to proc because it lasts for 10 seconds and it's any iteration of damage. This means that something like a bleed will basically just proc it instantly and you don't even have to worry about it. Getting a bunch of damage on the Hercules. Hopefully we can take him down. Dang, doesn't look like we're gonna be able to. I'm gonna ulti right here. Gonna get us a bunch of potential damage onto this Anher. Unfortunately, we got the Herc boulder right there and 500 damage from the tower. We should have had that kill. We should have had both of them actually right there. Just slightly misplaced coming out from our Hunter damage, but that's okay. That was a good blink right there. So your ultimate is a really, really aggressive ability. You basically just want to pop it in the middle of a fight going on. So how do you pop your ultimate super easily? Well, you throw down your ulti. It puts all these stones on them. You do your 3 and your 1 combo. Your 3 and your 1 is a giant damage AoE, plus it is a damage over time. If they don't beat to get out of your root, it is basically just gonna proc on them from that one little ability combo. Lord knows if you hit them with the dash aspect of this kit as well, it'll just be even crazier. Trying to bait for my boy over here. There it is, waiting for the Anher jump. They're gonna zone him out with the stones. He can't go through there, otherwise he'll get stunned. He tries to go through anyway, and now he's gonna be dead. Chasing through on this Hercules as well. Gonna use my combo. I'm just gonna throw down my 3. I don't even have to use my explosion on it. Unfortunately, he is going to get away. He's a very fast Herc with a Talaria boots. Woo! My shell didn't quite get off in time. I did throw down my ulti, though. I'm going to wait for this dodgy just to get a little bit further, hit him with a little 3-1 combo, and we should be able to bring him down as well. Dual lane is always so crazy.
Nice job.
So for our build on Terra, we grabbed our CDR boots. I grabbed CDR boots on pretty much all supports because I like the opportunity to be more aggressive. And Terra comes with a lot of crowd control that you can't really utilize as much unless you start getting some CDR online. We also slightly mix up our build where instead of getting Gauntlet of Thebes first, you know, have no fear, we're still getting Gauntlet of Thebes. It is just simply one of the best items in the game for supports. We grabbed a Stone of Binding. Stone of Binding is a pretty dang cheap item, only costs 1,700 gold. It's going to give you 30 power and each magical physical protections with some MP5. But when you successfully hit a god with a crowd control, it's going to get a debuff on them that reduces their protections by 10 each, physical and magical. So just providing some extra damage out for your team. It's basically reducing their protections so your team can hit harder. It also gives you a bunch of MP5, which is nice because you've got a little bit of CDR with the cooldown boost, so you're going to be able to use your abilities a little bit more often. Okay. Kind of waiting for the Daji to come down from this ability. Gonna hit him with a 3-1 combo. There it is. Great Scylla follow-up on our 3-1 combo. And now we should go right over to this Gold Fury. So when I go to tank the Gold Fury, I am not going to be using my 3 as an aggressive ability. I'm going to be using it as sustain. I'm going to throw it right outside of the Gold Fury range. Keep in mind that your 3 works just like how like a Ymir wall or something would go down. Meaning that if a Gold Fury or a Titan tries to walk through it, it is simply going to delete that player deployable off of the map. So you don't want to actually throw it inside of that Gold Fury pit, because if the Gold Fury accidentally walks over it, you're literally just going to lose your 3, and you're going to lose out on all sorts of sustaining capabilities.
Looks like you like a good.
You don't want that. You want your sustain from this ability. Also at the very end, you can see I kept my 3 up for the heal while we were doing the Gold Fury, but then the Anher hopped over to fight us. So it was like 8 seconds into the ability, and then bada bing, bada boom, I dash right through it, and I pop it to get the damage off in the root on the Anher. You can use it for both, and you should be using it for both. In the middle of a team fight, you're using it for the damage root. Outside of combat, you're often using it for sustain. Think about something like a raw heal, exact same concept. You're going to use it a little bit more passive out of combat, more aggressive in combat. Now we've got our Gauntlet of Thebes online, our regular old support item, and I'm going to be taking myself immediately into a Pridvin to get that 20% CDR online, so we can really go to Spam Town on all of this CC. We've got the root on our 3. We've got the stun on our 2. Our passive, remember, is a 30% slow for 1.25 seconds on our auto attacks as long as we have something up. We love cooldown on Terra. Now for Terra, in your laning phase, you're going to find that your lane clear is kind of buns. That's okay. It is going to be changing very, very soon, where she's going to have AoE auto attacks on Terra. So what you're going to do in the laning phase, as soon as that patch goes live, is instead of just using your 2 early and immediately popping it, you're going to keep your 2 up, like by the archers or something, in the dual lane. And then you're just going to utilize your AoE auto attacks on like the melee creeps or the archers. And then right when they get into threshold for actually killing them, that is when you are actually going to pop your 2. So you're going to utilize the AoE autos first, then pop your 2 for the actual damage that it provides. Trying to head back over to the mid lane. How about the boys? Once again, another good Scylla ulti. Gonna zone out the Agni this way. He can't go there even if he wanted to. I'm gonna throw down my ulti, try to help out the boys. Hit him with a little 3-1 combo on the Ymir. We do get the kill, but unfortunately we get collapsed. I'll throw down a little 2 right here for the Herc. If he tries to run through there, I can just stun him. So I'm just gonna keep that up to kind of zone him out so he doesn't go for the Wukong. A lot of plays about Terra is not about popping your abilities right away. Just because you throw out your 3 doesn't mean you dash through your 3. Just because you throw out your stun doesn't mean you immediately pop your stun. Sometimes you keep these things up in order to prevent people from walking through certain directions, to make people scared that you're gonna go and pop it. There's a lot of benefit to not necessarily instantly popping those abilities every single time. All right, we're gonna back it up. We can get our second active here at level 12. Nothing special. We're grabbing ourselves a Heavenly Agility, and we're ranking up our Shell, because Heavenly Agility and Shell are just so dang good for your entire team. For our matchups on Terra, there's 2 things right now. Actually 3 things, I should say, that she does not particularly like to play against. One will be fixed in the upcoming patch. That is super good early game clear. Because Terra's first couple of levels clear is so bad, it means that gods that have really, really good early game clear tend to be a mess for her to deal with. Whether that's a support or an ADC, whether it's an Izanami Rama full clearing the wave, whether it's a Ymir basically full clearing the wave by himself, doesn't really matter. Big, fat, full clear gods tend to be very problematic for her, because then you just have to give up the wave. You have to give up some early buffs and rotations. It's okay, it happens, but just keep it in mind that that is something you need to be watching out for. The 2 more important things, because these are still going to be relevant even after the change, cripples are really hard for Terra to deal with. Her entire kit is basically based around utilizing her force of nature in order to blow up her abilities. It is a dash, meaning it's a movement ability. So if you are going against somebody like an RDO or whatever, anybody that can get cripples on you, you're not going to be able to explode your 3, so you're never going to have your root. You're not going to be able to utilize a double dash a lot of the time, and it's just generically going to make your team fight experience a lot harder than it needs to be. Throwing down my 3 for the heal for these boys while I come over to tank the gold period. So be aware you don't necessarily want to play Terra into a lot of crippling characters. Third, anti-heal. Of course, Terra's a big part of her kit is sustain. Her 3 provides a ton of sustain to her team. Her ultimate provides a ton of sustain. So this means that both anti-heal items and anti-healing gods are problematic. So watch out for the Sobex of the world. Although Sobek is interesting because you've got this knock-up immunity, it means that you can't necessarily be like plucked or tail whipped, which is really cool. So it's kind of a little give and take right there. Like he can't use some of his abilities, but his 3 is gonna make my abilities less effective. So there's a little push and pull right there. But in general, you want to watch out for cripples and anti-heal on Terra. Those are the 2 big things, even post-patch, that are still going to be problematic for you. Gonna throw down my Shell, little root combo on the Daji. I'm gonna throw down my ulti, and I'm gonna try to chase this Daji. Pop the Heavenly Agility so I can hopefully get in range to punch him and start popping some of his ult. I am very tanky right now. I don't have to be super concerned. Gonna throw down my 2. And I'm just gonna keep it up so I can walk through it. Hit a little 3-1 combo to root those boys out of place. Daji looks like she wants to ulti me. That's okay. They're using a lot on me right now. If we can get the boys here, this will be a great fight for us. Throwing down the 2 on myself again, trying to stun, trying to back off all this. I'm throwing a little 3-1 just so I can get the combo off to try to get away. And it looks like we might just be able to waddle away out of this one. You don't want to use that many abilities on Terra. She can be extremely hard to kill. Now we're backing up. We're going to be getting our Pridven, only going to make us that much more annoying to deal with, that much harder to kill.
Oh yeah, you know the one.
For gods that you do like picking Terra into, Terra loves to play against gods that do not have leaps. If you are a god with either no movement ability or your movement ability is a dash, Terra is a nightmare. She is a nightmare because of her 2 and her 3, particularly her 2, but this ability's ability to body block should not be underestimated. That is a large portion of a wall that you can make, meaning that a god like Rama, that even you're gonna struggle against Rama in the early game clear, right? But when he tries to roll out from you, he's gonna be totally stuck on those walls if you can time it right. So anybody that does not have Elite, Terra loves to play against because she can body block with her 2 and she can body block with her 3. Not to mention she's not bad at body blocking with her actual body as well because your auto attacks will be slowing as long as you've had your 2 or your 3 up recently. It means that she is also in a position to body block. I'm going to throw down my 2 right there. You saw I was trying to body block for the Scylla. Stop as much of that as I could. I'm going to run deep into this, pop my ulti. It's going to go on Wukong. It's going to go on me, the Hercules, the Ymir. It's going to heal him up a little bit. It's going to do a bunch of damage out here. Going to use my 2, try to stun the Herc. And now I'm going to use my 3 as a healing ability. So we're going to walk over toward this right lane. I'm going to use my 3 right on the tower. So that way everybody inside of this tower range is now going to be getting healed just for standing inside of it. Whole team is going to get a bunch of sustain off that. Do not underestimate how strong Terra's 3 can be for sustain on your team. We don't probably want to just be careful. We don't really. Well, actually, I was going to say we want to be careful here, but they just showed one person left, one person over middle. I've got my Heavenly Agility and Shell up. Daji should not have enough to just take this by herself. My 3 is about to run out. I tried to pop it. Unfortunately, I was actually like 0.1 seconds too late. Ooh, luckily I had my 2 down for secure because it was just a little bit early, but we're going to be able to get the Fire Giant off of all of that. Our standard combination here on Terra is going to be the fairly straightforward 3. That 3 comes out. The second your 3 is out, you go through with your 1 and you root as many people as you can. If you haven't used your ulti yet, you have the choice. Really, your most dynamic choice on Terra is going to be, do I ulti before or after my 3-1 combo? If you're feeling confident that the team is not going to get spread out from your 3-1 combo, then go for the ulti first. In general, it is much less risky to do the 3-1 than the ulti. You're losing out on some potential damage procs from your ultimate. Just being able, you know, to start proccing those stones on your ulti, but you're much better off using the 3-1, rooting everybody, popping beads and stuff while applying the ulti to them than you are going for the ulti. And then when you go for the 3-1, now that everybody's got the ulti on them, they know you're going to go for the 3-1, and so they spread out and they try to get away. So your safest combination is to 3-1 first, then ultimate, and then follow up with your 2, either for more aggression or for peeling back for your squishies. So I'm going to grab myself a Spirit Robe right here. You can see that this build is a little bit more selfish than, say, our Sylvanas build was. Our Sylvanas build was very, very team-focused. Our build is very focused on ourselves because as long as we have got cooldown and as long as we are alive, we can just provide so much pressure on the enemy team, which is why we build Terra a little bit more selfish. So we're grabbing the Spirit Robe, which is going to bring our protections way up above 200. And it brings our current cooldown right now to 40%, maximizing the amount of abilities that we can use in these team fights. Our stun down to as low as 9 seconds, which is awesome. We do want to get ourselves set up for the left lane. Left lane is the farthest away from Fire Giant. It is the first lane you want to shove for Phoenix-wise. You always want to shove the lane that is farthest away from the Phoenix. So that way, when the next Phoenix spawns, if you do end up getting the Phoenix, the enemy team has to defend the lane all the way on the other side of the map, thus hopefully splitting up their team. I'm going to keep using my 3 back here for sustain on my Scylla. We don't have to necessarily go in on this exact wave, so I'm going to try to get our boys sustained up first before we actually go in for anything crazy. Hercules' ultimate is already down. My goal in this fight is to go in with a 3-1, pop my ultimate on as many people as I can, tank the tower, tank as many abilities, and then hopefully get out without dying.
Attack!
So now we're going to be going in. I'm looking for the Herc on the side. Not going to be able to hit him with the 2-1 combo. I'm going to throw down my 3. I'm not going to pop right now because there's not that many people in range. Heavenly Agility, Shell, ultimate. We're going to get it popped in quite a few people, actually. Looking back for the Anhurt. Throwing down a heal inside of the Phoenix range. Unfortunately, the Ymir is going to wall that off. We actually have one creep left, and we can get that creep inside. Dang, that creep actually died to one of their creeps. That would have helped us push this Phoenix pretty hard. We hopefully are going to be able to get this. No, we're not. This has been an absolutely horrific Phoenix siege. Not even going to be able to get out of that one. We had a lot of people dive past the Phoenix. Oh my goodness. All right. The good news is that we did end up getting one Phoenix. The bad news is that we had like a 12k lead. That fight should not have been that hard. Now we're going to sell our Guardian's Blessing. Looking at their team comp, they've got a little bit of healing with the Hercules. Not enough for me to be concerned about buying anti-heal. We really shouldn't be targeting the support Hercules anyway. And so I'm going to grab an item that we actually did pick up on Sylvanas because it's just so good for anybody that has healing. And that is going to be our, as long as I can find it, Lotus Crown. Lotus Crown going to give us a bunch of physical protections, help us out against those Phoenixes, and it's going to give our team 20 physical and magical protections. I don't need any more CDR at this point. I've basically capped that all out. And so now we can get a little bit more into helping our team. And because it's just on like the first proc of Lotus Crown, this actually pairs really well with your 3, because what you can do is you can throw down your 3, get like 1 proc on your team, and then just pop the 1 right away. And so you can still get that Lotus Crown proc from that and use it aggressive in the same team fight. Those are not mutually exclusive. It also will pop on your ultimate, technically, if you get the heal off on that as well. We love aura protections. Terra, also much like Sylvanas, has really good initiation capabilities. She's a pretty frontline support. And then after you do your initial frontlining on Terra, you go into the backline and you help with your peel. So you're oftentimes going to be starting off with that ultimate, that 3-1 combo. And then after you do your initial fight, you're going to be backing up and peeling for your team. So you'll see me going into these fights with my 2, with my 3, and then immediately resetting to start peeling with my shell, my heavenly agility, and my abilities as they come back up again. So now we've got the left Phoenix down. You can see they've sent her over there to deal with it, the farthest lane away from us. Now that we've got 2 Phoenixes up, we have to shove mid and right side at the same time. You want to make sure you've got 2 waves of creeps always pushed up, so that way if they come clear on one side of the lanes, you can just move right to another lane and have another immediate push attempt. You don't want to have to wait for a whole nother wave, wasting like 20 seconds of your fire giant, if at all possible. So they've got to be a little bit concerned about those creeps over left lane. They've got to be concerned that mid is getting pushed in, which means Wukong is actually going to push in kind of rightish by himself. Agni dashes away. I'm just going to throw down my 3 for sustain right here. Dodgy's coming into the back line. I'm going to try to put some pressure so they don't get dove in the back. That is fine. Moving back in, going aggressive once more, throwing down my 3 and my ultimate in the back line as a defensive technique. I'm still just tanking this Phoenix as much as I can. I'm gonna reset that Phoenix. Throw down another heal for my boys in the back line, and with our fire giant sustain, we're in a really good spot. We should be able to just go grab ourselves this right Phoenix. We don't need to do anything too scary right now. Keep throwing down that 3 for sustain. And we're gonna just chill out and sit here while they're beating on the Phoenix. I'm gonna try to reset it to my Wukong. He should be able to tank that just fine as well. Left Phoenix is about to come back up, so we're gonna be running back over there. Ulti's up in 20 seconds because we've got all this CDR. Heavenly Agility and Shell are still online, meaning that if a fight does break out, we should have the advantage in it because we've got all of our support actives up. Wukong is on zoning duty. We grab the Phoenix, and now we look in towards the Titan room. Titan, like I said, will get rid of my 3, so I got to be careful with that. If I want to use it for sustain, I should preferably use it outside of that room. I'm going to throw it right here on the backside. I'm going to throw down a Heavenly Agility, a little stun towards their base. Ulti in the backline for my boys. There's the dodge ult. We should all be fine off of this. Shell coming out, and we should be able to just focus the Titan and bring it right on down. So, as Terra, we've got so much sustain built in our kit. Plus, it's really easy for us to get a bunch of cooldowns and protections at the same time, allowing us to just sit there and kind of indefinitely tank these Phoenixes with no problem. We're initiating in our team fights and then immediately peeling back to try to keep our squishy boys alive, just like a very classic support role on Terra. At the very end of that game, we would have had a couple of items to sell. You can see 12,000 damage and 10k player healing. That's really good for a support. 10k healing on a support is really annoying. We would have finished up our Lotus Crown. After that Lotus Crown, we would have gotten rid of our Shoes of Focus. Still would have had 40% CDR with the red pot that we would have been able to buy. So we can grab ourselves another team fight item. Maybe we do eventually get that Pestilence or Contagion for the anti-heal at the end of the game. Maybe we do actually grab a little bit more damage. I don't even mind 6 item damages on support. Oftentimes back in the day, you'd see like an E-Staff or a Soul Reaver brought out just to provide a little bit more damage to your team. I don't hate that on a Terra support actually, because she actually does get a lot out of those damage numbers. And then you might want to think about selling your Stone of Binding as well at the super end of the game. It is only a 1700 gold item, meaning it's a tier 2, so it doesn't get some of those tier 3 benefits that some of the bigger items get. Once again, maybe that's something a little bit more aggressive like an E-Staff, or maybe it's something a little bit more defensive like a Mantle of Discord, guys. And that is our Terra.